up after Housewives. Like, I'm not so sure. It's just a unique brand of a show. I mean, even compared to other Bravo shows, I think. So I think whatever it is that comes next, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see how it could even be close to as salacious for them. Really.
No, and there's no, for me, I have a hard time putting women down and fighting with women. That's not my jam. I love building women up. I love connecting people. So that wasn't a good fit for me because that doesn't come naturally to me. I actually avoid conflict at all cost. I will back out of the room and, smile, smile and nod.
You're like,
But
I'm just not feeling it.
yeah, and for me, I also want to do something that's, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I feel like Housewives isn't actually reality TV anymore. I feel like I don't know about you, but I love driving through the city and staring into people's apartments. I love it.
I love it.
I love getting little glimpses into other people's lives. And I feel like when Housewives started, that's what we were. I got to see Gina Kehoe's family. I got to see the original glimpse into people's lives. And I feel now it's so produced and so edited. There's storylines, not just lives. And so I don't consider it reality TV anymore. I think it's produced. So
I would agree with that.
I'm looking forward to doing reality, real. This is my real life. Good, bad, ugly, laugh, cry,
Here it is.
kind of thing. Yeah.
I have more to say on that in a second, too. What are some of the lows? Or was there one low that just stands out for you?
Yeah. I think the backlash from season 2, and I'm not going to get into details or name any names, but there was something in particular that was said about me that I later learned wasn't true. I got a text message that someone had sent to someone else in her family and saying it's not true. My mom made it up, and I was like, oh, wow. Okay, that was my biggest low. I actually
Wait, someone said something about you, one of your castmates?
That I later learned was fabricated.
And what was that?
I'm actually not going to talk about it because, it deals with people that are underage and it's not fair. But that to me was the low. And because I really got hit. And at the time we were on a gag order from Bravo, so I couldn't talk about it. They said if we did, we'd lose our jobs. And I was low. And that, I know Noella's had an interesting season this year, but the one thing I have to give her such credit for was I was on my floor. I was so depressed. I couldn't move. I was so depressed because when I thought it was true, I couldn't believe I did it. And then when I found out it wasn't, I couldn't believe that I was going to have to deal with this. And she literally carried me onto her plane, took care of me, and nursed me back to health in Puerto Rico. I mean, she brought me back to life. And I do wish you'd gotten to see that side of her this year. Because she does have the biggest heart, and she really just was like, I got you. So I think that was probably the biggest low. Some of the other lows were just, coming out and getting sober and not being believed, especially with sobriety. No one fakes sobriety as a storyline because that means you have to be sober on those bitches, and that's not fun.
No, it's not.
So that I really wish that hadn't been given airtime.
And it did. So, right. I mean, those were some of the things I wanted to talk about. So let's take those two things separately. So one of the things that happened, like, while you were on the show is, you came out, you said, I'm gay.
I think my exact words were, I'm a big old lesbian.
Okay. Well, welcome, big old lesbian, to the family over here. Let's, cheers to that.
Cheers.
Yeah. So you came out. Let's just break that down. Now, before we get to this TV experience and that happening, when did you, growing up, I'm just curious, as a member of the gay community myself, I'm shocker, to break this to you, growing up, did you have any inclination of this?
No.
And then there's no judgment here,
yeah,
of course.
No,
I'm just
I didn't.
so curious.
I mean, I remember when I was little, closing the door and my Barbies would make out and Ken would just stand in the corner. All my girl Barbies were making out. I remember having crushes on girls but not being able to verbalize what that was. I actually told one, I'm still good friends with a lot of my friends from childhood. And I was like, hey, you know what, Elizabeth? By the way, I had a huge crush on you. When you would cuddle in bed with me, I liked it. But I didn't know that at the time. I didn't have the words or understanding because there wasn't the representation in the 1980s that we have now. I grew up in Laguna Beach, which is a very gay-friendly town, but it was gay men. I didn't see gay women, and the ones I saw I didn't identify with.
I was going to say, they didn't look like you. You could say it.
I like makeup. I like pink. I like dresses. So I knew that I had an attraction to women. I knew that. But I didn't think I was gay because I didn't like flannel, you know, and that sounds silly now saying it, but like I didn't have the role models. Also, keep in mind, you know, my childhood, I was moved around a lot. All I ever wanted was to get married and have a family and have the picket fence. And so I wasn't seeing that done. I think IVF was very new then, so there wasn't same-sex couples having children. I don't think adoption was legal for same-sex couples. So if you were a gay woman, then you'd have to give up children back then. And that wasn't something that I was, you know, it didn't even cross my radar. That being said, I was hooking up with girls all through high school.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I liked it. And Sean knew that when we met. He knew, like, okay, that's part of Braunwyn. Like, she'll be with me, but she's always going to hook up with girls. And I always did.
Wow. And then that continues through. I mean, if you're hooking up in high school, you might as well hook up in college with girls.
I hooked up in college until I had Bella because I had children. I met Sean at 18 and had Bella at 22. So when I was having children, they were my primary focus. I did attachment parenting. You know, I breastfed, I bed shared. I didn't leave Bella with a babysitter until she was 4. I nursed all my kids without a bottle. So I wasn't thinking, I didn't want to have sex with anyone.
Right.
Like,
that makes sense
at
to
all.
me.
And then I was having a lot of kids, and then we had a little break between Jacob and the twins, and we had a crazy couple years. And that's kind of what I thought it was, a crazy couple years. There was one person that became a little more serious. And she was my girlfriend, and she kind of was part of the family with us. Now, the kids didn't know, but Sean did. And that was a thing. And I do remember having a conversation with Sean, like, I think I might want to pursue a relationship with a woman, not just sleeping with one, but like an actual real relationship. But, you know, it didn't really go anywhere. I got sober for the second time shortly after that relationship because it was pretty toxic as far as she's sober now too, though.
Okay.
But, you know, I got sober again, and then I had children again, and it sort of just went on the back burner until the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah.
And just what? You had more time on your hands during the pandemic?
Well, there was a lot of things. I was sober. And I'd gotten sober 2 other times before. The first time I got sober, I did go to a 12-step program and work the steps, but I wasn't fully invested like I have been this time. So I'm at home. I'm sober. I'm working with a sponsor. I'm going through some stuff, and I'm talking to her, and she was actually the one that pointed it out. She's like, honey, I think you might be gay. I have no outside influences. I have nothing to buy. I have no party to plan. I have no trip to take. None of my crutches are there anymore. None of my things that make me, you know,
and even online shopping, you're like, because I went through that. I'm like, why am I buying this Louis Vuitton bag now? I'm never going to see another human being
I had
in my
enough
life.
cute pajamas at that point, you know?
Like, there's nothing here.
So I think, and then